Let me ask you something brutally honest. How many times have you blown a week's worth of profits in a single hour, just trying to get back what you lost? It starts the same way every time. You take a loss. Maybe a stop out by just 1 pip. Maybe a wick that hunts you perfectly and rage floods your chest. Your mind screams, the market owes me. I'll get it back right now. You click buy or sell without thinking. And then, bam, another loss. Then another. Before you know it, you're staring at a bleeding account, wondering how you went from professional trader to emotional gambler in under an hour. Here's the truth nobody tells you. It's not your strategy failing. It's your brain. Neuroscience proves that after a financial loss, your brain goes into fight or flight mode. For the next 19 seconds, your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, is offline. You're trading with the same primal circuits that made your ancestors throw spears at predators. And the market loves that. It feeds on traders who can't control that 19-second emotional storm. But here's the good news. There's a way to stop it. A simple rule that saved my account and my sanity. I call it the 19-second rule. And once you master it, revenge trading will become impossible. Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how it works and why it could be the difference between bleeding out your account or finally trading like a pro. I'll never forget the trade that almost made me quit for good. It was a perfect setup, or so I thought. One stop out later, I was furious. I didn't even wait for a new signal. I slammed into another trade twice the size, then another, and by the end of the day, I'd wiped out 2 weeks of profits in under 45 minutes. I sat there, staring at my screen, sick to my stomach, whispering to myself, what is wrong with me? Sound familiar? If you've ever revenge traded, you know this isn't about strategy. It's about psychology. Most traders think they have a discipline problem, but what they really have is a biology problem. The moment you take a loss, your brain switches from logic to survival. Cortisol and adrenaline flood your system, and for 19 seconds, your rational brain is offline. You're not making trading decisions, you're making emotional survival decisions. Welcome to Disciplined Trades, where we rewire the trader behind the keyboard. In this video, I'm going to show you how a simple rule, a rule that takes less than 2 minutes, completely eliminated revenge trading from my life. Here's what you're about to learn. The exact neuroscience of why you can't trust yourself for 90 seconds after a loss. How I turned that science into a repeatable system that forced me to stop clicking buy when angry. The 3-step ritual that top prop traders secretly use to reset their brain after every stop out. And make sure you stick around for step 3. It's so powerful, it felt ridiculous when I started doing it, but it single-handedly saved me thousands. Quick question. What's the fastest you've ever revenge traded after a loss? 10 seconds? 30? Drop your answer in the comments. Be honest. You might just realize how hardwired this habit really is. If you're tired of being the market's punching bag and ready to trade like a professional, let's get into the science and the cure behind the 19-second rule. The science of the 90-second storm. Before we talk about stopping revenge trading, you need to understand why it feels uncontrollable. The moment you take a loss, your brain interprets it as a threat to survival, not just a financial setback. Cortisol and adrenaline flood your system, triggering your amygdala, the part of your brain designed to detect danger. Harvard neuroscientists have shown that during this stress response, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logical decision-making, temporarily shuts down for 60 to 19 seconds. Translation, you're physically incapable of rational thinking in that moment. You might feel like you're choosing to trade, but you're not. You're running ancient survival software, the same code that made your ancestors throw spears at predators. The loss feels like an attack, and your brain demands you fight back immediately. Why 90 seconds? Studies by Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor, a neuroanatomist, show that once triggered, the chemical surge of an emotional response naturally takes about 19 seconds to flush out of your system, if you don't add more fuel. But most traders unknowingly pour gasoline on the fire. They stare at the charts, replay the stop out in their mind, and trigger the stress response over and over again. That's why revenge trading feels irresistible. It's not willpower you're lacking, it's biology. Your brain is screaming, Do something now. Take control. Make the pain stop. But every click you make during this window is driven by emotion, not analysis. You're not trading the market. You're trading your fight or flight reflex. Think about your worst revenge trade. Were you calm, methodical, and logical? Or were you flushed, tense, maybe even sweating? That physical state wasn't a coincidence. It was your body preparing for battle, not analysis. Here's the key insight. You can't outthink biology while the storm is active. You can only outwait it. Once those 90 seconds pass and your prefrontal cortex comes back online, you'll often laugh at how irrational your urge to trade was. Action step: acknowledge the storm. Every time you're stopped out, whisper to yourself, "My brain is lying to me for the next 19 seconds." Then physically step away from your screen. Set a timer, breathe, and let the chemicals drain. The market will still be there when your brain calms down, but your account won't survive if you trade during the storm. Revenge feels so good, and why is deadly? Here's the paradox. Revenge trading feels amazing in the moment, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. After a loss, your brain doesn't just want money back. It wants emotional relief. Behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman discovered that losses feel twice as painful as equivalent gains feel good. Your brain is wired to do anything, to stop that pain. And what's the fastest way to numb it? Clicking buy or sell. The second you re-enter the market, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that fires when gamblers pull a slot machine lever. For a brief moment, you feel like you're taking control again. That's why revenge trading feels so irresistible. It tricks you into thinking you're fixing the problem when really you're digging the hole deeper. Think of your last revenge trade. Remember that adrenaline rush? The tight chest, the urgency, the sudden wave of false confidence? That's not discipline. That's your brain chasing a chemical high. You're no longer trading to win, you're trading to stop hurting. And the market punishes anyone who trades for emotional comfort instead of strategic execution. In fact, a study from Cambridge University found that traders with higher baseline cortisol levels, stress hormones triggered after losses, took significantly riskier trades than those who paused before acting. The more stressed you are, the more reckless you become. The market loves this because it feeds on emotional liquidity. You're literally the liquidity exit for traders who stayed calm. And here's the worst part. Even when a revenge trade wins, it reinforces the addiction. That hit of dopamine tells your brain, "See, this works," which guarantees you'll do it again. But the math always catches up. One lucky revenge win cannot outpace the 10 reckless losses it creates. So how do you break this deadly loop? By reframing the urge for what it really is. A biological craving for relief, not an intelligent decision. Every time you feel the need to get it back, you must remind yourself, this isn't me trading. This is my brain trying to numb pain. Action step: before placing any post-loss trade, ask yourself out loud, am I trading to make money or am I trading to feel better? If you hesitate even for a second, you're not ready to trade. Step away, breathe, and let the storm pass before even considering your next move. The 90-second rule explained. This is the rule that saved my account and maybe my trading career. The 90-second rule is simple. After every loss, you are banned from making another trading decision for at least 90 seconds. No exceptions. No just checking one more setup. 90 seconds might not sound like much, but it's enough time for the chemical storm in your brain to pass. Why does this work? Remember, after a loss, your amygdala hijacks your brain, flooding your system with cortisol and adrenaline. For those 90 seconds, your logical brain isn't just compromised, it's offline. Neuroscientist Jill Bolte-Taylor explains that if you don't feed an emotional reaction with new thoughts or actions, the stress chemicals physically flush out of your body in about a minute and a half. The problem is, most traders keep fueling the fire, staring at charts, replaying the stop out, angrily scrolling through Twitter. Every thought about the loss restarts the 19-second clock. The 90-second rule forces you to interrupt the cycle. Here's exactly how to do it. 1. Step away from the screen. Physically push your chair back. The further you are from the flashing candles, the weaker the emotional trigger becomes. 2. Breathe with intention. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 6. This breathing pattern activates the parasympathetic nervous system, slowing your heart rate and signaling safety to your brain. 3. Label the emotion. Say it out loud. I'm angry. I feel cheated. I want to get it back. Studies show that labeling emotions reduces their intensity by engaging your prefrontal cortex. 4. Move your body. Stand, stretch, shake out your hands, or do a quick walk around the room. Physical movement helps your body process and release adrenaline. When I first started doing this, it felt ridiculous. Sitting there breathing while the market moved without me, torture. But here's what changed. 9 times out of 10, by the time the timer went off, I didn't want to take the revenge trade anymore. My logic had returned, and the setup that felt urgent suddenly looked like garbage. Action step. Write 90 seconds is my edge on a sticky note and place it at eye level on your monitor. Every time you're stopped out, set a physical timer before touching your keyboard again. It's not just a pause, it's a reset button for your brain. Think about it. If you just avoided the stupidest 10% of your trades, how much more profitable would you already be? The 90-second rule isn't about being perfect. It's about giving your logical brain a fighting chance to save you from yourself. The prop trader reset ritual. If you think the 19-second rule sounds extreme, wait until you hear what professional traders do. At top proprietary trading firms, traders are often forced, by company policy, to step away from the desk after every significant loss. Not suggested, not recommended, forced. One former prop trader I interviewed told me, if you got stopped out, you physically had to leave the trading floor for at least 2 minutes. You grabbed water, walked around, whatever. If you didn't, risk managers would lock your account until you cooled off. Sounds harsh, right? But there's a reason. Prop firms understand something most retail traders don't. The first trade after a loss is statistically the most dangerous. Why? Because even if you think you're calm, your biology disagrees. Cortisol levels remain elevated for minutes after a stressful event, subtly impairing judgment. Cambridge University ran a study measuring traders' stress hormones and found that those with higher cortisol levels took significantly riskier trades, often overestimating their edge. Prop firms know this. That's why they build in cooling off periods to protect both traders and firm capital. Here's the key takeaway. If traders with millions in backing and institutional training aren't trusted to trade immediately after a loss, why should you trust yourself? The solution? Steal this ritual for yourself. Every time you take a loss, 1. Stand up immediately. Push your chair back and leave the desk. Create physical distance between you and your trading platform. 2. Perform a reset ritual. This could be getting water, doing 10 push-ups, or jotting down what just happened in your journal. The goal isn't the activity, it's breaking the emotional loop. 3. Return only when calm. Before sitting back down, rate your emotional state on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're above 3, stay away longer. When I first started doing this, it felt like wasted time. But here's what happened. The trades I wanted to jump into immediately after a loss, by the time I sat back down, most of them looked terrible. Just like at prop firms, the ritual saved me from myself. Action step: build your own reset ritual today. Write it down, tape it to your monitor, and commit to it for the next 30 days. If professional traders can treat cooling off as mandatory, so should you. Because the traders who survive long enough to win big aren't the ones who trade the most. They're the ones who know when not to trade. Journal the storm. If you don't track your emotions, you'll never break the revenge trading cycle. Revenge trades thrive in the dark because you never analyze why you took them. The truth is, most traders can't even remember the exact emotions they felt during their worst trades, which is why they repeat the same mistakes over and over. Here's the reality. If you can't measure it, you can't fix it. Professional athletes review game footage, pilots run post-flight debriefs, but most traders just close their laptops and hope to do better next time. Hope isn't a system. Journaling is your system. And no, I don't mean just logging entry and exit prices. You need to journal your state of mind because your emotional patterns are more important than your technical ones. Here's what to log after every single loss. What did I feel immediately after the loss? Anger, frustration, maybe disbelief? What was my first impulse? Did I want to double my size or maybe jump back in immediately? Did I follow the 90-second rule? Be honest. Yes or no? What did I learn from this emotional reaction? At first, this feels tedious, but after a week, patterns emerge. Maybe you notice you always revenge trade after 3 losing trades in a row. Maybe you only break rules when you're tired. Once you see these triggers written down, they lose power. You're no longer a victim of random emotions. You're a detective uncovering your brain's habits. One trader I coached discovered that he only revenge traded after lunch sessions. Why? Because he was coming back from a meal tired and distracted. Once he saw this pattern, he cut his afternoon trading in half and his equity curve shot upward. Action step: create a post-loss section in your trading journal starting today. Label it Storm Log. After every loss, write a quick 3 to 5 sentences about your emotions and impulses. Review your storm log every weekend. Awareness turns emotional chaos into data, and data can be fixed. Remember, your journal is your mirror. If you don't look in it, you'll never see the trader who keeps sabotaging you. Rewire your identity. Breaking revenge trading isn't just about rules. It's about becoming a different kind of trader altogether. Because here's the truth. You act according to the identity you believe you have. If deep down you still see yourself as an impulsive, emotional trader trying to get better, you'll keep slipping. But if you begin to see yourself as a calm, disciplined professional, your actions start aligning with that identity. Psychologists call this identity-based behavior change. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, explains that true change happens when you stop saying, "I want to stop revenge trading," and start saying, "I am the kind of trader who doesn't revenge trade." Subtle shift. Massive impact. Think about Navy SEALs or elite athletes. They don't rely on willpower to stay disciplined. They follow their rules because those rules are who they are. They don't need to debate whether to train or follow a mission. They just do it because it's part of their identity. You need to build the same identity for trading. Here's how to start. 1. Name your professional self. Just like actors step into a role, give your disciplined trader persona a name. One of my students calls his the sniper. The moment he sits down to trade, he whispers, "The sniper is in control now." 2. Affirm it daily. Every morning before you trade, say out loud, "I am a disciplined trader who never trades during the 19-second storm." Repeat it enough, and your brain will start treating it as truth. 3. Act as if. Before placing any trade, ask, "Would the professional version of me take this trade?" If the answer isn't a clear yes, you skip it. One trader I coached adopted this approach and taped a sign above his monitor. Trade like the future pro who already made it. Within a month, he went from compulsive revenge trades to missing fewer setups but dramatically improving his consistency. Action step. Write down your trader identity statement today. Something simple, like, "I am a calm, methodical trader who follows rules even when it's hard." Put it where you can see it every day. Because the fastest way to stop acting like an amateur is to stop identifying as one. Remember, discipline isn't just a habit. It's who you choose to become. Climax. Think about every revenge trade you've ever taken. The ones where you sat frozen after the stop out, rage boiling in your chest, your finger hovering over the mouse like your life depended on it. Be honest. How many of those trades ended well? Probably none. And yet you kept doing it again and again. Why? Because up until now, you believed you had to. You thought those urges were part of who you are as a trader. But here's the truth. They're not you. They're just chemicals. For the first time in your trading life, you have proof that this isn't about bad discipline or weak willpower. It's biology. For 19 seconds after every loss, your brain literally lies to you. It floods you with cortisol, hijacks your judgment, and whispers, "You can fix this right now. Just one more trade." But that voice isn't you. It's a survival mechanism designed for cavemen, not traders. And now you know how to beat it. The first time you apply the 19-second rule, it will feel impossible. Your hands will itch to click. Your mind will scream that you're missing opportunities. But the moment you push through, the storm will pass, and you'll feel something you've probably forgotten you could feel while trading: calm. The urge will melt, your logic will return, and you'll see the truth. The perfect setup you were about to revenge trade was garbage all along. That's the turning point. The moment you realize you are not your impulses, you're not a gambler pretending to be a trader, you're a professional learning to control the one thing that actually matters in this game: yourself. Imagine 6 months from now. You sit at your desk, take a stop out, and nothing. No anger, no rush to get it back. You sip water, breathe, journal, and wait. And when you do enter your next trade, it's because your strategy, not your survival brain, told you to. That's when everything changes. That's when consistency begins. And it all starts with one decision. For 90 seconds, you do nothing. So next time you're stopped out, remember this: every revenge trade is your old brain winning. Every 19-second pause is your future self winning. Which trader do you want to be? The gambler who feeds the market, or the professional who finally takes its money? Let's wrap this up, because what you just learned could be the single most important psychological shift of your trading career. Here's what we covered. 1. Revenge trading isn't a lack of discipline. It's biology. For 90 seconds after every loss, your brain lies to you, hijacked by cortisol and adrenaline. 2. The 19-second rule is your edge. By doing nothing for just a minute and a half, you let your logical brain return before making any new decisions. 3. The best traders don't fight their biology. They outsmart it. Prop traders, elite professionals, and disciplined independents all build rituals to pause, reset, and trade only when calm. If you take just one thing from this video, let it be this: you are not your impulses. Every time you hit that pause button, you're training your future self to be the kind of trader who wins consistently. Now I want to hear from you. What's the fastest you've ever revenge traded after a loss? Be honest and drop it in the comments. Writing it out is your first step to breaking the habit. If this hit you hard today, like this video, not for me, but as a commitment to yourself that you're serious about changing. And if you're ready to go deeper into rewiring your trading brain, subscribe now, because the next video will show you something powerful. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one. Remember this final truth: the market doesn't reward speed, it rewards control. Every time you pause, every time you breathe, every time you choose patience over panic, you're stealing back money that used to belong to someone else. The 90-second storm will always come. But whether it destroys you or passes harmlessly, that choice is yours. See you in the next video, and as always, discipline is your edge.